Hey there, I've got some exciting news that I've been waiting to share with you for a few weeks now. It started with a chance meeting at Creator Economy Expo last year in 2022 with the team at Lulu.com. They happened to be sponsoring the event, and I happened to be there handing out my book, the book that they had printed. I had chosen to self-distribute my book and found that the simplest way to do that was to set up a Shopify store and use the Lulu integration. They turned out to be a great partner and even supported me in gifting 300 copies of that same book at the next event I was going to, the Craft and Commerce Conference last year. When I had the idea for this next book, Blockbuster, I spoke with a number of hybrid publishers, quote unquote hybrid publishers. These are companies that shared the belief that the traditional approach to publishing was broken and unfair to authors. So that got me excited. I was happy to meet with them, but quickly realized that it was a same horse, different jockey situation. Arguably, it was worse in some ways. You're paying to play, meaning you pay this hybrid publisher for their labor up front, things like editing and layout and design and even publishing. And then you get a better residual or share of the revenue once the book sells. A typical traditional publisher maybe is a 10 to 20%, whereas these were touting 50 and 60% residuals. But that's if the book sells. The idea of spending $8,000 or more to get my book published and then only earning 50 to 60% of the royalties, it just didn't sit right with me. I was doing all the heavy lifting. I was writing the book and creating the ideas and putting it out into the world. Yet they stood to make more than I did, up to the point where I sold about 20,000 copies of my book. Yeah. My last book has sold about 250 copies. So I would need 2 orders of magnitude more sales in order to make more than the publisher does. So there's also the concern around wanting to do whatever I want whenever I want with my book. Again, it's my book. So what if I want to gift 300 copies to an event again? Well, in this hybrid model, I'd have to buy the books from them at cost, since they're the publisher, which means I can't use any other printing companies that may be cheaper or even free, like Lulu, for example. I wouldn't own the work product that I paid for 5 years. So it's not ideal, to say the least. Plus, I value my independence way too much to give away the rights to something I created and only earn a percentage for a number of years. So that brings us to this month, June 2023. I have been chatting with my favorite people over at Lulu, and I came to find that they would be the perfect team to partner with on this next book. So that's what we're doing. Matt, their VP of Marketing, who I met and worked with at last year's conferences, mentioned earlier, he and I sat for coffee and I had a hot chocolate at this year's Craft and Commerce in Boise, Idaho. We chatted about my plans for this next book to write and publish the book in public, and that there was a perfect partnership there waiting for us to both say yes to. And so we did. This book is proudly sponsored by Lulu.com. You'll see and read much more about them, and I guess hear much more about them as I continue to share chapters and publish them each week. We'll be working together on editing, layout, cover design, and possibly even distribution. I could not be happier, and I hope that if you are thinking about writing a book, you'll do one of 2 things, ideally both. First of all, go to lulu.com, Lulu.com, and chat with the team there, even if you haven't even started writing your book. They'll show you a path to getting your book into the world that doesn't involve you giving away the rights to your words and your ideas. The second thing is you can check out this free workshop I did a few months ago about how to write and publish a book. I did this live at a bookstore here in Provo, Utah called Pioneer Book, and I recorded it. So it's an unlisted YouTube video, and I'll leave a link in the show notes for you. If you have any questions about this partnership, I'd love to hear them. I'm an open book, as it were. So just shoot me an email at darren@craftsmancreative.co and let me know. Maybe I'll answer it in a future episode as I'm writing this book in public. Thanks so much for listening. And thank you to Lulu for partnering with me and sponsoring this book. I'm really, really excited to show all these artists and creators and creative individuals how you can do things on your own terms, how you can find the right people who see the vision, who see things the way you do, and how these partnerships can create incredible opportunities if you just go for it. So thank you, Lulu. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.